Let me ask you something. What if I challenged you to save 500k Ugandan shillings this month? Would you know exactly where that money would come from? Because the problem isn't that we are not earning enough. Sometimes money is leaving our hands in small amounts every single day. 2,000 there, 5,000 there, 10k for something you didn't even plan to buy. And because amount feels small, we don't think much about it. But imagine losing even 15k a day to little unnecessary expenses. Over 30 days, that's around 450k Ugandan shillings. Now I'm not saying that everyone is spending 15k Ugandan shillings unnecessarily every single day. My point is that small money links can become big money over time. So today I'm going to share 5 daily habits I would look at if I wanted to save 500k Ugandan shillings this month. And number 5 is something many people don't consider as spending habit. Hey guys, welcome back to BeckyBrilliant Finance. If you're new here, you are so welcome. My name is Becky, and on this channel, we talk about personal finance, personal development, saving, budgeting, investing, and building financial stability. If that sounds like your goal, you are on the right place. And before we go to 5 habits, I want to make something very clear. The video is not all about stopping you enjoying your life. I'm not saying that you should never eat out, never buy yourself something nice, or never spend money on something you enjoy. It's about becoming intentional. Because if you have specific financial goals, sometimes you have to temporarily say, this month, this money has a bigger job. And 500k Ugandan shillings may sound a lot to some people if you're starting from zero. And also it may sound very little to some people if they have already moved a step forward. But to someone starting from zero, instead of looking at the whole 500k and asking, where am I going to find all this money? Let's break it down. 500k divided across 30 days is roughly 16,700 Ugandan shillings per day. You don't necessarily need to save 16,700 every single day, but it gives a different way of thinking. Instead of looking at one huge amount of money, you start asking, where can I reduce or redirect some of the money I'm already spending? So let's get into the first habit. Number 1 is probably something we don't think about enough. Making too many small mobile money transactions. Now let me be clear. I'm not saying that mobile money is bad. For many of us, it is one of the easiest and most convenient. The problem is when we start making a lot of small transactions without really planning them. Maybe withdraw 20k today. Then tomorrow you need another 10k. Then you send someone 5k. Then another small withdrawal. And before you know it, you have made several transactions throughout the week. But because each charge may look small, you don't really feel it. But when you look at your transaction history at the end of the month, you may be surprised by how many little charges and withdrawals you have made. So one thing I would do is plan my cash needs instead of constantly withdrawing small amounts whenever I feel like I need money. And more importantly here, I would start checking my mobile money statements, because sometimes we think, I don't really spend that much. But your transaction history tells the real story. And this is not about avoiding mobile money completely. It's about becoming more intentional with how you're using it. Because when you're trying to save 500k Ugandan shillings, every small amount you can stop linking gives your savings goal a better chance. And speaking of smaller links, this is another one that can be even bigger than the transaction charges themselves, the little things we buy after we make those transactions. Now, number 2 is probably one many of us can relate to: buying food, coffee, snacks, and other little conveniences every day. And honestly, I'm not here to tell you to stop enjoying yourself. I love treating myself too. The problem is when a treat quietly becomes daily expense. Maybe every morning you buy coffee, then during lunch or after lunch, you buy a snack. Maybe you order lunch because you didn't plan what you are going to eat. Then in the evening, you think, let me order just something because I'm tired to cook. And each time you're thinking, it's only 5K or it's only 10K. But the question is not really about that 10K, that 5K. The question is, how many times are you spending that 5K? Because 10K spent several times a week can quietly become hundreds of thousands of shillings over a month. And this is where I want you to try something. For the next 7 days, try to write down every food or drink or anything you buy outside what you have already planned. Don't change anything yet. Just track it. Your coffee, your soda, your snacks, your takeaway, your food delivery, everything. And after 7 days, look at your list and ask yourself, which of these expenses did I actually need? And which one was I simply buying because it was convenient? You might discover that you don't need to completely stop eating out. Maybe you just need to reduce it. You don't have to make your life miserable. You are simply saying, for this season, my 500K is more important than some of these small conveniences. And imagine moving the money you would have spent and actually moving it into your savings instead. Now you are not just avoiding spending. You are redirecting the money towards something you actually want. And once you start looking at your food spending, there is another place I want you to check, because this one can be taking money from you without you even actively buying anything, ignoring subscription and automatic payments. Number 3 is paying for things you don't actually use. And this one can be very sneaky because sometimes you don't remember you're paying for it. Maybe you subscribed to an app because you wanted to try it. Maybe you signed up for streaming service. Maybe there is an online membership you haven't used in a month. Maybe you're paying for cloud storage. Maybe you have an app on your phone that automatically renews every month. And because the money is coming out automatically, you don't really notice it. And that's why I want you to do something very simple today. Take about 10 minutes and check your bank transactions, mobile money statements, App Store or Google Play subscriptions, and look for recurring payments. And then ask yourself, am I actually using this? If the answer is no, cancel it. And if you're paying for several things that you genuinely use, ask yourself, do I need all of them at the same time? Maybe you're paying for membership because you might use it someday. And maybe someday can become a very expensive word when it's taking money from you every month. I'm not saying that you cancel everything because you're trying to save. If something genuinely adds value to your life, and you have budgeted for it, it's fine. The point is simply to stop paying for something you are no longer using or don't really value. Now, number 4 is something I think many of us have done. Buying something simply because you want it right now. You see something online. Maybe you're scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, or shopping apps, and you see a beautiful bag, or shoe, or new phone. Maybe you're walking through a shop and you see something on sale, and immediately you're thinking, oh my God, I need this. And before you have even thought about it, you have already paid. Now, sometimes you genuinely need the thing, but other times you wanted it because you saw it at a particular moment. And this is where I like using what we call 48-hour rule. If it is something I don't actually need, and it's not something I have already planned for, I give myself some time before buying it. For smaller purchases, maybe you can wait until next day. For something more expensive, give yourself 48 hours or even more. And during that time, ask yourself, do I really need this? Did I really budget for it? Will I still want it in 2 days? And here is another question I really like. If this wasn't on sale, would I still want it? Because sometimes we think we are saving money because something is 30% off. But if you are not planning to buy it in the first place, you did save 30%. You spent 70%. And that's something we need to understand. A discount isn't automatically a saving. If you're trying to save 5K this month, every time you successfully pass off before unnecessary purchase, you're giving yourself another opportunity to keep that money. And the final habit is connected to all 4 of these. Because sometimes the reason we don't realize we are overspending is simply because we are not tracking it. This is number 5. And honestly, this might be one of the most important habits if you're serious about saving. Because money doesn't always disappear through one big purchase. Sometimes it lives in small pieces. 2K, 5K, 10K. You buy something here. You pay for transport. You get a snack. You send someone little money. You buy airtime. You pay for something you didn't plan for. And because none of those expenses feels big, you don't really think about them. And then at the end of the month, you're looking at the account thinking, but where did my money go? And that's where I want you to try something very simple. For the next 7 days, track every single expense, even if 500 shillings, 1K. And there are many apps you can use to track your expenses. For me, I use Money Manager app. You can use Notes app on your phone. You don't need a fancy budgeting app. Just use your Note app and just to write, what did I spend? How much was it? Was it planned or unplanned? And that is it. Then after 7 days, sit down and look at what you have written. And I want you to separate those expenses into 3 categories. Needs, wants, and planned spendings. And don't judge yourself. This isn't about saying, oh, I'm so bad with money. No. The purpose is simply to see the truth. Because you can't change the money habit you haven't identified. Once you know where your money is going, you can finally decide what needs to change. And this is why I always say, you don't need to track your money to make yourself feel guilty. You track it so you can make better decisions. And now if you have been following me through all these 5 habits, there is one thing I don't want you to do. Don't simply cut these expenses and then leave the money sitting in your account idle. Because if you do that, there is a good chance that you will eventually spend it on something else. I want you to do something very specific with money you save. And that's how we are going to turn these 5 habits into an actual 500K savings plan. Don't just stop spending the money. Redirect it. Move it. Put it into your savings account. Put it towards your emergency fund. Put it towards an investment. Give that money a specific job. You can put it on unit trust, money market funds, Y Investor, or NSSF Smart Life, or somewhere else to be making some interest while continuing to contribute and save until it's 500K Ugandan shillings. For example, if your goal is 500K this month and today you avoided using 10K Ugandan shillings, Move that 10k Ghana shillings towards your goal into a unit trust, money market fund, NSSF Smart Life, or any other investment option. Then tomorrow, maybe you save another 5k, then another 20k, and you start watching that number grow. And suddenly, saving becomes something you can actually see. You are no longer thinking, I need to stop spending. You are thinking, I'm building 500k. And honestly, I think that mindset makes saving much easier because you're not simply depriving your soul. You're choosing something you want more. And I want to leave you with this. You don't have to completely change your lifestyle to become better with money. Sometimes you just need to become more aware of where your money is going. Track it. Puzzle before buying. Reduce unnecessary expenses. And most importantly, redirect the money you save. And if 500k is unrealistic for your current income, that's completely okay. Choose your own number. Maybe it's 50k. Maybe it's 100k. Maybe it's 200k. Or even more. The goal is to challenge your soul while still being realistic about your circumstances. Start where you are with what you have. And that is it all. Now I want also to hear from you. Which of these 5 habits do you think is quietly costing you the most money? Tell me in the comments. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and share with your friends. And also, don't forget to subscribe to BeckyBrilliant Finance for practical financial education, saving, investing, and building financial stability. And remember, small money links can keep you stuck, but small money habits can help you to build wealth. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.